Good morning. Saturday morning again. I want to invite each and every one of you to attend worship with us at the Unit Church of Christ on Murfreesboro Road here in Nashville at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. But once again, if you're worried about the virus, if your health condition is such that you're uncomfortable with attending a worship service, join us here online on Facebook or YouTube at 9 o'clock. We'll be streaming that service live for you. I may have mentioned this before, but I grew up blessed to have just a very wonderful set of parents. My father was probably the greatest guy that I'll ever know. I remember that I always listened to my father. I didn't always do exactly like he wanted me to do, but when I didn't, I knew I was wrong. And I ended up many times suffering the consequences for that. But I always put a lot of weight in my father's advice because he knew how to do almost everything and almost everything right. I remember after returning home from active duty in the Army, hearing my father talk to my mother in the den. The den was a room that was my mother's sewing room. It was my dad's office. It was where the ironing board was. But I came out of my bedroom and I heard him talking to my mother, and he said that he wished that Robbie, which is what they called me, could find a good wife. And if he could find a good wife, he could go anywhere and do anything. You know, I've been extremely blessed for the last 42 years with a beautiful wife. A wife that has helped me go through hard times and good times, raise children. She's the most important thing in my life. And I hope that I show her that all the time. I want to read this morning from Ephesians chapter 5. It's a section on Christian living, or Christian household living. I'm going to begin in verse 22. My glasses were crooked. I'm sorry about that. But Ephesians 5:22 says, "Wives, submit to your husbands as to the Lord. For the husband is the head of the wife, as Christ is head of the church, his body, of which he is the Savior. Now, as the church submits to Christ, so also wives should submit to their husbands in everything." Man, you know, I'd like to stop right there, because as a husband, that's pretty easy. But the tough stuff's yet to come. Husbands, love your wives just as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her to make her holy, cleansing her by the washing with water through the word, and to present her to himself as a radiant church, without stain or wrinkle or any other blemish, but holy and blameless. In this same way, husbands ought to love their wives as their own bodies. He who loves his wife loves himself. After all, no one can ever hate his own body, but he feeds and cares for it, just as Christ does the church. For we are members of his body. For this reason, a man will leave his father and mother and will be united to his wife, and the two will become one flesh. This is a profound mystery, but I'm talking about Christ and the church. However, each one of you must love his wife as he loves himself, and the wife must respect her husband. Be safe. Stay well out there.